With only 8 days to go, FOMO for XRP continues to run. We can see that the 50 EMA continues to act as a good support level after some healthy rejections, and ultimately it doesn't show any signs of slowing down. Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today we're talking XRP. We'll be taking a look at the technical analysis on the 1 hour chart as we are only 8 days away from the Hinman emails being made public. Let's jump right down into this video, and as I get into it, if you find it useful, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new, subscribe. You can always unsubscribe later. Join us down in Discord and continue the conversations on XRP down in the Discord server. Let's jump right into it. So this particular chart here is on Smart Money Concepts. So if you're not familiar, then obviously join down in Discord or check out Cheeky School, linked in the description below. Essentially what Smart Money Concepts gives us is it makes us understand the market structure, okay? And it's really important that we understand whether or not the structure is in a bullish state of play or a bearish state of play. There's many different ways of doing this. Smart Money Concepts helps us with understanding whether or not there is manipulation and large investors coming in and that kind of stuff. So here we can see that way back over here, this was on the 26th of May, we changed from a bearish state of play, which is this red change of characteristic, to a bullish state of play with this green characteristic change. Okay, we then actually rallied on up quite a bit. We didn't get any break of structures until up here. This actually happened yesterday at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where we rallied on up and we broke above this high level, breaking the structure that was turning bearish. Okay, so this is really bad terminology from Smart Money Concepts, because I don't like to think of this as a break of structure. I much prefer to think of it as a CTS, a continuation of the trend. Okay, so essentially this and this is linked together. Okay, and that break of structure is confirming that we're bullish. Okay, not that you really need confirmation of that at that particular point in time, but you know, essentially that's what it's doing. And so when we understand that market structure, it's important that we understand that, yeah, we're still in a bullish state of play. Now, it's not uncommon for price to dip down lower than this level briefly from time to time. And this is something that we can note from past charts and so forth. Now, all these green areas are interesting. You can see red on here and you can see green. Now, we are in a state of FOMO for XRP, as we are only now 8 days away from those Hinman emails getting released, at least into the public domain. Ripple obviously already know what's inside there. You get these fair value gaps, okay? These fair value gaps that are created here, and a few different places. Not these dark green ones. These dark green ones are where buy orders are typically added to the chart. It's just algorithmic, so it's not actual buy orders, but it shows you this is where most traders are likely to place their buy orders. And so these lighter green areas, these are fair value gaps. These fair value gaps are created when there's an imbalance in the order books, as in there's too much buying pressure and not enough selling pressure, right? For anyone who understands the basics of how cryptocurrencies or the stock market works, essentially it's supply and demand. Everything is about supply and demand. There's always a buyer, there's always a seller, right? Everything is in balance. And when things get imbalanced, such as what you see here, you end up with price jumps. Okay, price jumps because there's too much buying pressure in this case. Okay, too much buying pressure on this low side at 45.48, but can't really be filled. Those buy orders can't be filled until price goes to 45.89. It shows that there's no liquidity in this area, or not enough sellers in that area, so price jumps to the upside. And you can see this time and time again, and this basically is showing us that there's large orders for XRP coming in. Okay, now when you see these, you normally expect the people who are buying to slow down. Once you realize that they can't buy it at the price that they want to, they generally turn off the money tap, stop buying, and price wants to naturally come back down and fill those gaps. Okay, now you don't see that on here necessarily. In fact, we've left quite a lot of gaps behind. Now, not all gaps have been left, because there are some in here that were fair value gaps that then got filled and then moved straight away. But these ones have been left behind. So why do I talk about this? I talk about this because at some point, price is more than likely going to come down here. It's not a guarantee. Specifically, when we talk about 45 cents, it's not a guarantee that price comes back down there. But you think probability-wise that at some point, that's going to want to kind of fill out. Now, with 8 days, and I keep mentioning this, and that's why I'm going to do this every single day until those emails are released, within that 8-day period, we should see some form of healthy correction, logically thinking. However, because of the Ripple, because of the SEC, and because it's XRP, there is absolutely zero guarantee that that's going to happen. Okay, so logically that's what should happen. As we see overbought areas on our stochastic RSI, we should start to experience a pullback in the market. However, given everything that's been bubbling for the last 2 years, I think it's unlikely that we're going to see any major corrections. We might see the occasional dip, like we saw over here, for example, and what we saw here yesterday, which I'll jump into because we validated what I thought was going to happen there. But we're going to see smaller moves rather than larger moves, in my opinion, and we're going to see continuation of accumulation. Okay, continuation of accumulation across the field when it comes to retail investors and XRP, and obviously institutional investors and XRP, right? So I think essentially it's buy mode for XRP. That's how I'm looking at this at the moment. And if we do have the opportunity to see cheaper prices, that's fantastic, because that's more of an opportunity, at least on the lead up to these emails. Now, as I was saying before, it could be a buy the rumor, sell the news event, which means that on the 13th of June, we see the entire market just drop, right? And basically it was just a build up to that event and to those emails getting released, right? So we see this from time to time with some fantastic things that should occur on X date. Unfortunately, the market doesn't do what retail investors expect, and unfortunately, the market turns because of the imbalance in the supply and the demand, with the supply increasing and demand decreasing by that point. Okay, so at the moment, we've got an excess in demand and a shrinkage of supply, hence the price goes up. And that can easily turn if the institutional investors that were buying on the way up here decide that actually now's time to take profit. Okay, we've seen this time and time again. So we want to be a little bit optimistic, but at the same time we should also be realistic with what's happened before could potentially repeat itself again. So talking about what happened yesterday, we were expecting a move to the downside. That did not play out. We actually broke upwards with our invalidation being set at 53.40, and so yeah, a win there for smart money, and not such a win for Elliott wave theory. Now we have a 5-wave structure here, and we can see that we've potentially completed a 5-wave structure here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and actually that could potentially be more here with an overextension in the 5th. And so we have that structure going on, and that's completed right in here as a 3-wave structure like so. Now we've moved down a little ways here. We can see that we've potentially still got higher to go. We're probably not going to find that we're going to breach this right away at 54.7. We might find ourselves with that 3-wave. I mean, we've got a 3-wave correction right in there already. We've not quite fully completed this 3-wave move to the upside, and so we might see a 3-wave move back to the downside, just testing that 50 EMA. It looks like overall it's very choppy, and that's a positive sign. When you see a choppy market like that, it means that the moves to the downside are short term, they're not long term, and therefore we are probably still going to have to continue that move to the upside. As you can kind of see, the 50 EMA, the red line here, is acting as good support, with a 200 EMA following shortly below, but ultimately everything's looking pretty good. From our weekly standpoint, it's the supply range that's the big issue here. Coming in at 58.5 is where we've peaked so far. This particular range is going to be the interesting one. So if I bring this back in here and see what's going on from this standpoint, yeah, we kind of hit the 1.382 and then retrace. So this is looking more and more likely to be a WXYXZ structure. So possible that we do peak through here. If this is the case, then we do have target ranges for our W wave. So we'll go ahead and throw that on there. Let me just move that out of the way. So this low comes in at 41 exactly. So let's get that down to 41 exactly on the W. And then here we would typically move up into... we've already met the minimum requirements, but we could potentially push up towards 64.53. On the Z wave, the kind of the maximum level there. But again, all this technical analysis is great, but when we have something as fundamental as the SEC versus Ripple and the Hinman emails, I think at some point these structures are potentially going to get invalidated, and we're just going to kind of run and start flying in a really very bullish way for XRP. So just be a little bit cautious with this. I think dollar cost averaging has been a great strategy for XRP. It's something that I got really lucky with. when I placed a buy order down at 30 cent. And I say it was accidental. It was this one right here. I had it placed on Binance and it literally just filled it. We wicked down to 30 cent and I got filled. So this is something that Chris says quite a bit down in the Discord and the AMAs and some of the videos. Put those orders in from time to time. And if you go down there and you wick down there, great, because sometimes they get filled. And in the case of XRP, my last buy order was right on that wick low. So I really did luck out with that one. But dollar cost averaging normally is a great strategy. We did a lot of that back down at 17 cents over here after that lawsuit was dropped, right? So you can see the lawsuit getting dropped right here. We did lots of dollar cost averaging down here at these prices. I did some more obviously down at that 30 cent range as well, which completely just lucked out. But having those orders in there were really beneficial. So it looks like we have this move to the upside still in place, still bullish, still looking for fantastic runs to the upside. And yeah, we might see, all this analysis just completely get voided as we have one hell of a green candle. If it ever if Ripple were to win, I think the green candle would just be, really, really large. Obviously, we'll see that initial kind of surge upwards. We'll probably find upper resistance, profits taken, and then do a bit of choppy kind of moves to the upside. But I think ultimately it's going to be really, really positive overall. Even if there's a settlement, you'll still see very similar results. And if for some miracle, the corrupt courts decide that the SEC and the corruption at the SEC should win, then I still think I think it's going to be very negative for crypto space overall, but I still think that XRP, once it has clarity, will perform reasonably well as well. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. How high do you think it's going to go once these emails reach the public domain? Let me know in the comments below. Join us down in Discord, subscribe if you're new, hit the like button on the way out, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one. We are not financial advisors, and none of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.